Hi, here's a quick little lesson on how to harmonize a melody. Here we have a very short melody, and all we need to do is choose some chords that will harmonize these notes. So, for example, if I'm in G major, I can harmonize G in the melody with a G chord, or one chord, but I can also harmonize G with an E, G, B chord, right, or a sixth chord. How else could I harmonize G? I can harmonize it with a C, E, G chord, right? So those would be the three ways of harmonizing a note in the melody. Here we've chosen 1 to 6. This is a progression that works fine because from 1 you can progress to any other harmony. Now let's do the same thing with the A. If I used A as the root of the harmony, the A, C, E, which would be a 2 chord. Let's write down all the possibilities here so we can keep track of them. So we could have a 2 chord, or we could write F sharp A, C. That would be a 7 chord. Or we could write D, F sharp A, which would be a 5 chord. Let's just save that for now. Let's move on to the F sharp. The F sharp could be harmonized F sharp A, C, which is a 7 chord, or D, F sharp A, 5 chord, and then the last one would be B, D, F sharp, the 3 chord. And then at the end of our melody we come back to G. This could be harmonized the same as the first one, a 1, or a 6, or a 4. Every time you have a G, those are the 3 triads that would work. Okay, so now that we see our options, all we really need to do is find a reasonable path, a good harmonic progression that leads through these possibilities. And the first one that's clear to me is that I'm going to want to end on a 1 chord rather than a 6 or a 4. So I'll have that as my choice. Now I can progress from 7 to 1, 5 to 1, or 3 to 1. Well, my strongest move would be a 5-1 cadence, so I'll choose the 5, and definitely not 3. 3 wouldn't progress to 1 well at all. Now we have a choice between bridging between the 6 and the 5, 6, 2, 5, 6, 7, 5, or 6, 5, 5. Which one of these would be the best? If you said 2, that is correct. 6, 2, 5, 1, in fact, is the circle of fifths progression. So 6, 2, 5, 1 would take us nicely along the circle of fifths. Okay, so now that we've chosen a harmonic progression, the next step is to harmonize it. And the very first thing you should do is to add in your bass line. So we're going to just use root position chords for these exercises for now. I'll put in a 2, which is A, 5, which is D, and then let's change to half note G at the end. Okay, so now let's listen to the melody with the bass line and see how it sounds. Alright, that's pretty good, but it's bare because we're missing harmony, right? The inner voices. If you remember what we did last semester, we would take this type of texture and harmonize it. So we'll start by putting a third and a fifth in the first chord. And now let's try adding the inner voices to harmonize this. So we go to E, G, we can keep the B, and double the E, right? Alright, in the next chord I'm going to an A, C, E chord. I only have 2 A's. It looks like I can keep the E in the alto and move the tenor by step to the C sharp, or sorry, to the C. Okay, very smooth motion here. And then in the next chord I need D, F sharp, A. I have a D, I have an F sharp. It looks like the only person that can give me an A is the tenor. And then an A in the alto. Okay, and lastly we'll resolve this. I need a third. I think that would work well in the tenor. Let's change that to a half note, sorry. and also half note D in the alto. Get rid of this rest if I can. There we go. Okay, so we'll play this example. Okay, sounds quite solid. So that's the essential process. You think of the possible harmonies for the melody. You choose a correct path through the possible harmonies that gives you a good harmonic progression. You add the bass notes for the roots for each chord, and then fill in the harmonies using good smooth voice leading, and you have harmonized the melody.